Welcome back to Heavenly Sword. So for the climax, the I guess epic final battle.
How is it that despite only being 8 parts long, this playthrough feels longer than some of our 20 or even 30-part playthroughs?
Just to let you know, Jova, you're also... There's something you guys... Well, the game hasn't told you yet.
Oh,
Jova, in that case, you're totally not gonna enjoy the Order 1886. That game is incredibly short, but it feels like it's 5 times longer than it actually is.
Andy, please.
What is that Raven like his familiar, I guess?
Here's what happened. This is what would happen to Gollum if he had actually obtained the ring.
He grew up?
Is humanity back?
There you go. See?
Oh god, the limp sync.
And again, these Bloom and Vaseline.
And remember, Jova, this is a pre-rendered movie, so it has nothing to do with possible rendering issues. This movie was rendered as a video. This is how it's meant to be.
Like, what even happened to the lip sync? Like, it's good in some cutscenes, but terrible in others.
I guess mocap in video games wasn't quite perfected yet, like it is now.
So you see, these 2 scenes are supposed to show back
These
to
boys
back.
you are not touching you.
Wait, what's wrong with Roger's head? Like, for some reason, that part of his head seemed like it was moving. What the fuck was that?
Off animation renders.
Again, this is a pre-rendered movie. You can easily correct any mistakes. Whatever, moving on.
Oh, let me guess. This is supposed to be them finally coming around and now acknowledging Nariko as the wielder of the Heavenly Sword.
Yeah, finally being the warrior chosen for humanity.
Too little, too late by this point
Why does it
for
feel
me.
so hollow?
Yeah, by this point it's too little, too late.
Let's see the parallels between these 2
Oh, hold on.
speeches.
That's actually an upcoming line for any circus that I love. Yeah, that's actually an upcoming line from any circus that I love. Listen to this.
Waiting for the moment when she can sink her slavering jaws.
Hold on.
My sacred
Andy Serkis got paid to say these lines.
Remember, Tail. For all we know, he wrote that line. For all we know. So yeah, go on.
Again, why is the compiler hard hiring me for making a plot? I can assure you, I can write something good for you.
Go on, Jova.
Just look up something. Okay, this game came out what year again?
2007.
2007.
So this was before Game of Thrones. Because, man, that feels like a bad Game of Thrones line. Or a bad Game of Thrones take.
I mean, it's hilarious because Andy Serkis delivers a line with all the gusto and enthusiasm in the world, but... Oh god, Nariko, you're Bloom!
What's wrong with your face?
So basically his speech just amounted to, I'm going to make Nariko my absolute cocksucker.
Seriously, the Bloom is borderline near deadly premonition levels at this point.
Like, okay, I get what they were trying to do. Make him seem so awesome that him essentially describing Nariko giving him a blowjob would come off as awesome. It doesn't. It's just meme-worthy at best, but still, again, gotta give Andy Serkis credit. He read that line dead seriously. That being said, I do have to wonder how many takes there were for that thing, because I can just imagine him laughing
that one is also
silly.
capped, so... I wonder instead how much of the lines of at least Andy Serkis were improvised, because... sadly, this doesn't have that much of a trivia page in TV Tropes, so it doesn't really state if there were some improvisational.
This goes back to my issues with the whole sexism bout here. Like, really? That's all this amounted to? Oh, they hated her, but now they're fine with her. And that's it.
Okay, so
It feels kind of pointless.
Yeah, so the basic gist of it is that you have to destroy these vehicles before they destroy the fortress. The green bar on the top right corner is, of course, the health of the fortress. It's very easy.
Final level is an escort mission.
I don't know, Till. Like, I feel like this is incredibly easy, so I don't really mind it, honestly.
Getting a sense of deja vu. Isn't this how we started the game?
Kinda, yeah. This is basically a new turret section of sorts that you can use.
Just more on steroids again.
Yeah. Don't worry, though. Like, as long as you keep shooting things and destroying the vehicles well, you'll be fine. The fortress has plenty of HP, and as you can see, the health bar isn't particularly. Don't worry about the actual people on the ground. Those things, like, you'll be fine. You should focus entirely on these machines.
You know what this mission reminds me at the beginning, by an extent? I don't know if you actually played it, but the Lord of the Rings Return of the King video game has something similar to this with the defense of Minas Tirith.
Yeah, the basic gist of it is that the men are actually trying to throw those explosive barrels into the walls. I don't know how much, so I'm also trying to make those barrels explode before they get near. But yeah, obviously your primary priority should be these machines because, yeah, they're attacking through the air, so blow that shit up. I mean, at the very least, okay, okay, at the very least, this a section like this is at the very least a fucking godsend of a break from the mind-numbing swordplay, at least. So at the very least, this is not too bad. I don't mind this. It's easy as piss, but I'll take it.
So the guys I'm getting is that the shooting sections are basically sections where you're more of in an archer position.
Yeah, kind of like with Kai.
Between this or when you're playing as Kai tend to be the better segments of the game.
Yeah, because I feel like they're simple, but at the same time, they don't feel like they drag on for too long, except for, of course, that stupid thing where Shen would walk so fucking slowly while we were covering him, but...
or that weird slow gondola part, also Kai.
Yeah, true. Yeah, no, never mind, Joe was right. Even those kind of drag. God.
Again, it's just the problem with the game speed in general. It's way too slow for its own good at times. And I get it. They want us to do so that we soak up how great the graphics, how great the rendering is. But it constantly overstays its welcome.
It's not even just that. It's the usual thing where the developers are trying their hardest to get as much squeeze as much playtime as they can, just to make sure the game is not too short that people will complain that it's not worth full price.
And yeah, the end result wasn't exactly beloved.
Remember, same thing happened with the Order 1886, where that game is only like 5 hours long, even though it sure feels more.
I guess to give this game credit, at least you actually get to play it, whereas Order 1886 might as well be a movie.
Okay, you do have some gameplay section, but it's your standard run-of-the-mill third-person cover shooter. So you might as well just play Gears at that point.
Yeah, so technically there is gameplay, it's just that the gameplay bits...
It's the boss fights that are a joke.
The fights against the werewolves are fucking a fucking joke. Like,
let me put it like this, audience. You probably have heard the memes about Metal Gear Solid 4 is much more movie than a game. Let me say this, Order 1886 makes Metal Gear Solid 4 look like a game through and through. I am not taking that back. There is arguably less gameplay segments of worth in Order 1886 than there are in Metal Gear Solid 4.
Well, considering Metal Gear Solid 4 is a much longer game, by default that would be the case. Even then, at the very least, that game is entertaining. I can say the same thing for The Order, because The Order is so fucking boring.
That manages to uphold, while The Order is a completely original IP that's basing itself... It's just basing itself out of some pre-existing meeples.
Okay, so let me reiterate. Even with Metal Gear Solid 4 having more length, the ratio of gameplay to movie time is still better in Metal Gear Solid 4 than it is in Order 1886.
Okay.
Like, honestly, I have to wonder if Order 1886 was kind of a rejected movie script
okay,
that
I haven't
got forced to be made a game.
I mean, I haven't completed the game just yet, so I'm not sure if maybe it... Oh, hold on.
Nariko,
Did we do it?
they're preparing to attack us from above.
Right to the kite people.
I'm fine.
Nariko, I know that in my desire to be your tutor.
Oh yeah, now you're gonna wrap this up right there at the end.
Yeah, great.
It even feels through it.
Hold on.
For you.
If you hadn't, I probably would have died long ago.
What?
Ah,
What? Excuse me? Let me get this straight. He's trying to apologize for being an ass to you, and your answer is, well, if you hadn't done it, I would be dead long ago. What?
I suppose the idea is like him being hard on her made her tougher in life. Again, here's the problem.
Strengthening her like iron, the
Okay.
treatment. The problem is that it's still a bad treatment at the end of the day.
Not
Not only that,
Good thing that it worked, I guess.
Not just that.
not only that, but we did not really get to see her life growing up. Like, and mind you, that's
Well, remember, we had the
having
animated series for
the-
that, technically, to be fair.
I was about to get to that. I said that's even with us having the animated prologue. I don't feel like we got to see enough of how, the way he treated her somehow made her tougher in life for it. Like, if anything, it felt like she got tough in life in spite of how he brought her up. I guess maybe she learned to raise herself more, but no, it does not feel facilitated well enough. And like Tia said, even if supposedly that is what happened, that is not a good message to be telling that, if you teach your child, or adopted child, whichever she is to him, like crap, it's a good thing because you're gonna make them tougher in life. Screw off with that
Okay,
noise.
so I didn't actually fail this section, so I didn't check. But yeah, every time you go away from Shen, he says, "No, we must stay together." And the game even, what the fuck is going on there? And Shen even says, "Nariko, we must stick together," and blah blah. So apparently, I'm supposed to protect Shen because apparently, despite being the fucking leader of this army, Shen apparently can't fight for shit.
I'm guessing the idea is more so just about for the sake of the story, you're supposed to clear house on the enemies along with Shen to show the power of these two finally seeing
You know-
sword heroes.
You know, that's actually one thing that this game has in common with the Order 1886. Your AI partners are incredibly useless.
Like, seriously, look at Shen here. This is the supposed ruler of the tribe that has kept the heavenly sword safe, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm not kidding. Go
Running
watch.
around aimlessly and not even being able to hit the damn enemy.
I'm not kidding. If you want to see for yourself, go watch Dark Lord Other One's review of the Order. Like, he literally gets to a point where there's only one more enemy in the room, and he just stands back and lets Igraine try to take care of it, but Igraine misses every single shot. Like, again, you might as well be playing in Gears, because in Gears of War, your AI partners are actually useful. So, fuck.
I love how you move just a few inches before suddenly a new wave of enemy comes. Like, good God.
That being said, to be fair to the Order, okay, I haven't completed it yet, but I have yet to get to a point where we literally go a half hour without even touching the controller, to be fair.
Well, again, I'm going more so about the ratio here. While granted, we don't get any one bit where it's all clumped into one. Okay, maybe it's not a case, but I will say this, Metal Gear Solid 4 still felt like I got to play it more.
To be fair,
In regards to, how much gameplay there is.
My basic argument...
Maybe it's because
Sorry.
a lot of Order 1886's gameplay feels like I'm on autopilot. But no,
Yeah.
I really do feel like the gameplay to story... Well, no, not even gameplay to story, just the gameplay to cutscene ratio is worse in Order 1886. Maybe I'm mistaken, but at the very least, that is the feeling I get when I
wouldn't
experience.
Much like with MGS4, I would be willing to just get over that if the story was at the very least good, but it's not. It's boring. It's so boring.
Very boring.
Like,
when it's not being stupid, and then it has...
oh no, trust me, it's more than just boring. Like, it's also incredibly stupid. There are plenty of subplots that just come up and then just never get brought up again. You can tell that script. You can tell that game had plenty of deleted content. Like, there's so many
Also,
subplots that
gameplay-
start and never actually finish.
I can also tell you that on a gameplay standpoint, the game tries to hype up in terms of
Cutscene.
weapon. Sorry. Casual.
Oh my god, more of these. No.
We needed a cutscene to establish them.
Ninjas.
Oh, snap, explosives.
No, Dwebs, remember, you're a Brit. They're not ninjas, they're heroes.
Heroes, of course. Mind you, we haven't used that since like the late 90s.
I know.
They brought reinforcements.
Nah, you think?
I thought we established that at the start of this.
We'll stay here, hold them off as long as we can.
Kai, what about Kai?
I'll take care of her.
And you?
No, Shen, I don't really trust you with Kai. I don't trust you with anything. Like...
I'm guessing we're to assume he's healed after that little
Yeah, that
arrow
mean-
strike too that had him limping.
Alright, say hello to my little friend.
War machines.
It's even harder to face what
Wait, yay, we're gonna get blown off. Is that, why are they celebrating? Like,
Yeah, you were about to die.
But now I see
Why?
the divine heart of battle, the beauty of bloodshed.
Nariko
Face there.
is Sean Rambo.
okay, so basically the idea is that you're...
Kill 500 people.
Yeah, kill...
I guess I don't see them.
Okay, that being said, to follow up on what Theo was saying, yeah, like I said, regardless of the whole, his training made her tougher thing, it's still not a good look. And second, yeah, I get the... Yeah, Nariko seems to be very okay with the fact that the guy who tried to kill her at birth, okay, if... Shen didn't apologize for the whole killing at birth thing. Like, he apologized for the way he treated her, but didn't apologize for the whole... Like, so that bit goes unaddressed. And I'm sorry, I'm sorry if I keep bringing this up, but I'm sorry, it really is a pertinent point. This guy tried to kill Nariko at birth, and now there's not even an attempt to redeem him on that point, it seems.
Keep in mind also, the scene where it's revealed that he almost killed her, Nariko's not even mad at him for trying to kill her, she's just mad at him for leaving her alive after the Aqua General reveals the truth.
Yeah, that too, yeah. It's...
Again, I feel like at best this story is missing some crucial elements to explain this stuff better, but at worst this is just pathetic writing.
Okay, so when you run out of ammo on the cannon thingy, this is where it becomes incredibly annoying, because you have to basically make use of the free dot thing to kill a lot of people at once, because yeah, look at this. This is the pinnacle of Heavenly Sword. A million enemies surrounded
In
me.
this case, you build the meter much faster.
Yeah, it is, but at the same time, look at this. This is Heavenly Sword in a nutshell, ladies and gentlemen. A million enemies on top of you, and you can barely even tell what you're doing because there's so much shit on screen.
It really feels like a Muso game without the Muso controls.
Do not pursue the wolf.
Indeed. Yeah, and we're almost back at the beginning. You might remember this bit. Alright, 200... Oh, sorry, not...
This game really does get its...
that's it, 150.
This game
sorry.
really does get its equivalent to the 1,000 Heartless battle.
That was more fun in that game, though. I will say
Oh
that.
yeah, without a doubt.
It's See, there you go. See, you see what I mean? See, look at this. This is Heavenly. If I wanted to, in a nutshell, show people what a Heavenly Sword is, this. I would show them this clip right here. Well, not this bit. Hold on. There you go. Let me wait till I'm surrounded again. Yeah. What is Heavenly Sword? This. This is Heavenly Sword, motherfuckers. This right here. Like.
Deliberately waiting to be surrounded. Waiting.
Yes.
That's Heavenly Sword waiting.
Ladies and gentlemen, look at that. Look at how many... Okay, again, I appreciate the technical achievement. There's a shit ton of enemies on screen. Remember, recently, Asobo Studio even talked about that when it comes to making Plague Tale Requiem, because the original game in the original Plague Tale you had a maximum of 50. If I remember correctly, in the original Plague Tale you only had a maximum of like 5,000 rats at once on screen. But according to the developers for the sequel, they kept themselves on the new gen consoles, PS5 and Xbox Series, because they wanted to not have to, hold back. And in Plague Tale Requiem, there's a total of 300,000 rats at the same time in an individual segment.
Yeah, now you have a time limit in order to destroy the catapults.
Yeah. To be fair, as long as you hurry up and don't bumble around, you should be able to do this fine enough. I was able to do it first try, so I feel like it's not particularly a problem. Yeah, the problem is more get out of my way! Coming through!
That.
Remember, killing enemies in this particular section is actually a problem, like you're just wasting time, so there's no point in trying to beat them. Just try your best to circle through them. Physics? What the fuck are those? Okay, second catapult. Out of my way, coming through.
At the very least, give a means to traverse these guys better. Because, if you get caught up on these, that is more time wasted.
You know what this is, Dwips? Remember the MTV parody of Matrix Reloaded? That's basically this. A lot of enemies piling on Nariko, like Sean William Scott was piling on Justin Timberlake. The multiple Sean's, I mean. Oh, he's perfect. There you go. See, as you can see,
oh my god, that one mook was literally frozen in blood.
So there you go. See, I did it with 2 minutes and 20 seconds to spare. So as you can see, it's not a problem.
Why are they retreating?
Well, probably because we destroyed all their armament.
Or maybe because
Unless
they have
this
something
is a
worse
trap.
coming out.
It's here.
Now? I mean, the subtitle said he's here ... So full circle. Ha, get it? Full circle. Anyway, retreat to the fort. You have 1 minute.
I love how our guys are now dead. Although this implies that the mooks that clearly weren't in the cutscene were surrounding us from behind at that point. Doesn't make sense, but
do we really need this segment of me going all the way back to the fort? You could just do the entire thing via a cutscene. I mean, come on, this is just redundant.
oh, she called him father, guys.
Oh. Wow, that was the shortest chapter ever. Like
Kneel before me and I will show mercy to your people.
yeah, no, like I have literally zero reason to trust that you'll go for your word.
Besides, Nariko's time is almost up if you forgive her at the beginning of a game.
Yes.
And what did it ever bring them in return?
There you go. We've come full circle.
Nothing. Nothing.
So guess what? Remember how at the beginning of the game we had this bit where Nariko supposedly dies?
All covered in tattoos. Yeah, even Boahn is like, what the fuck is going on? I wasn't expecting this to happen.
Like, wow, I've won? Okay.
Boahn wins by doing absolutely nothing.
Because the heavenly sword is killing her at this moment. That is some crap timing.
Oh, I get it. You know those bits when you're in the menu and it looks like she's talking to the player? In reality, she was actually talking to the sword or something.
Yeah.
There you go. You figured it out.
You cracked the code, Waves.
Wow.
Guess what though?
It's almost.
Oh, and there she. Speaking of that, oh Nariko, your dress is pissed off. It seems like.
Also your hair.
My entire life listening to those people that believed in you. But now, you're going to listen to me. Take my life, and the rest of my people are finished. Those that have shed blood in your name, those people that have died for you will be gone. And all you will be...
Makes you wonder, if the sword has a mind of its own, maybe an explanation as to why it acts like this?
Become is a beautiful object to be admired behind glass. And then you will gather
Does these
dust.
people know what glass is?
You will die.
This implies she knows what a museum or something is.
Yeah, true.
And now,
It's the whole...
See what I mean? See what I mean? This is
Try and eat me!
you see what I mean? This is a vlog. She's holding the camera. She's holding the camera. Like,
It's the whole George Lucas school of naming things. Just because it's cool, you have to justify the...
and there you go. Remember
What
the.
a shock! Of course, she comes back to life all more powerful because she reasoned with the sword.
Remember, the animated prologue showed us the Light Warrior, and she's the reincarnation of the Light Warrior. So yeah, now she becomes. Now her bloom is turned up to maximum levels.
Okay, yeah. I'm sorry. I know that's supposed to look cool, but really, it just looks like they turned up the bloom on her.
Yeah, we've done it. We have surpassed the premonition's bloom. We have done it.
The goddess. Now, basically, you're full to go for 1 minute. Go ahead, have fun.
Great. 1 minute. Great. I finally get the cool toys, and I get to only use them for a minute. Thanks, Mom.
Everyone gets 1 minute.
Can you get to like 300 before the time runs out?
Well, let's see.
Well, let's see.
Oh, I like how it's
Like into the air.
It's raining, man.
It's raining, man.
Okay, I will say this. It is kind of cool that they're all moving in slow motion while you're moving in real time to show just how
It's like
fast.
this
Almost there.
drama where
Almost
your
there.
flag goes on
And did it! I did it! 300!
You did it. I'm proud of you.
There you go.
Guess what though, Joba? The game has a twist up its sleeve.
Yep.
Oh,
The Crow was the mastermind behind the whole time.
I was just saying.
really?
We pulled a blue dragon.
Let me guess.
Except in this case, unlike in Blue Dragon, in here there was no foreshadowing whatsoever of this.
Tio, I was saying that at the same time you were saying it.
Yeah.
Yes, the crow is supposed to be the counterpart to the heavenly sword.
Yeah.
The Demon Lord.
Basically, Nariko is the warrior of light, whereas the crow, I guess, is supposed to be the warrior of dark.
I think its official name is the Raven Lord or something.
Raven.
Yeah, okay, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. This, like Tia said, this really didn't have any foreshadowing. This is like with Legend of Korra suddenly going, oh, suddenly we can have a dark avatar in regards to the regular avatar.
Or suddenly Korra and Azami are a couple now, even though we had zero build up to this.
Whoa.
You.
Well, okay, Paige, I won't give that a little bit of an out because Nickelodeon were being dicks in that regard.
Oh, sure, I understand.
much.
I understand that, but if you can't do it properly, you might as well not do it.
The Dark Avatar stuff, on the other hand, no, that's on the writers.
Sure.
Look, I said it before and I'll say it again. The dark avatar shtick, the way it was done in the show,
There you go.
felt like some fan fiction and not good fan fiction. This
All
has a
right.
similar quality in that it really just comes the heck out of nowhere.
Ha,
Fun
Nariko.
time.
Ha, Nariko. You think you can defeat me just because you've raised the bloom settings to max? Silly girl, I have dark wings.
Oh my god, now he kind of looks a bit.
Oh my god, that looks so bad. Like,
Which one?
both.
Yes.
Like, Nariko's bloom looks so bad. When you look worse than Deadly Premonition, when your bloom is worse than Deadly Premonition, stop making games. Like,
Where are some of those bad guys even running
Also,
to? Like,
look at
some
how
of
little damage you're doing.
Yeah.
Oh no.
You see what I?
For a very lengthy boss fight.
It's like I said. You get the cool toys, but you only get to use them properly for a minute. Now you get back to feeling underpowered again. Hope you had fun, dipshit.
Also, I find it silly how some of the mooks are clearly not even running towards you. Like, some are trying to attack you, but others aren't. Like, I get that it's for the sake of fairness in the game, but honestly, why not have it that, like, Boahn drains energy
Not to mention, hey game, can you please get the mooks out of the camera so I can see where the boss is? Seriously, what the fuck?
Right? They're just running around because, I don't know, and again, you know, like, well, if all of them avoided you, that would make sense, but no, some still try and attack you, so
Okay.
I have no idea what's going on.
Okay,
there.
so this boss is annoying as fuck for one main reason. You have to beat him in all 3 life bars of his under just 1 life bar. There are no vases in this area to heal your health. Fortunately, the game saves the checkpoint at the end of every one of the 3 phases. So,
Like the hour time, yeah.
so you can exploit this by if you can manage to barely beat 1 phase, let yourself be killed in the next one, so you can restart that phase with full health.
I honestly think that the reason that's included was kind of a bit of a realization of how these bosses could drag on. So it feels kind of like they patched a band-aid onto it by going, well, sure, you may die, but at least you'll just go back to the checkpoint of the boss under their life bar, essentially.
It's so weird, like, you just gave... Nariko just went Super Saiyan, and yet I don't really get to enjoy it. I only got to enjoy that for 1 minute. Now I'm...
Okay, you guys have more experience on that, so let me ask the question. What is the equivalent of this for a supersonic final boss fight?
What do you mean? Like one that makes you
a
go
time
super...
where Sonic manages to get supersonic, but the resulting final boss fight is still so unbalanced that you might as well not have it.
Okay,
That's the thing?
I don't think any
can't really
game... No.
think of any regard, because look, say what you will about Sonic games, but they pretty much always get the gist that Supersonic is, well,
Yeah.
Supersonic. It's supposed to be that big
Like,
power moment.
how about
Sonic
this?
Frontiers absolutely really
Oh no,
shows
that.
how powerful it can
Sure.
be.
Oh sure. Here, we have plenty of time, as you guys can see. So you know what? I'll go through all of them. In Perfect Chaos, you get to fly right through the insides of Perfect Chaos, so you do feel the power. Cool. Same thing with the final boss of Adventure 2, even though I prefer the Perfect Chaos boss battle. It's fine. You're flying in space. You're flying into. Oh no, sure. If you want me to go back that far, sure. The final boss, the Doomsday Zone in Sonic 3 and K, sure, that works fine too. What else?
I mean, hell, when you get down to it, actually, the classics even let you go super in regular stages.
Yeah.
Arguably, Sonic on a regular basis
Well, I'm
can
trying
show you
to-
better that taste of power. But okay, going back to the.
I was just trying to bring back to talk about specifically supersonic boss battles specifically.
Fair enough.
So we have
Biohazard.
Sonic Heroes. Well, we already mentioned Biohazard. Sonic Heroes. It works well because you have these because the powers of the 3 characters are overpowered now, and you defeat them using Team Blast. And it's a very powerful Team Blast that you. So it still feels good. Like for example. He throws an airship at you. You use Knuckles to literally punch the fuck out of the spaceship. So you do still feel powerful when you do that. What's next? Shadow the Hedgehog. It works fine. I will.
Powered versions of both the hero.
It's not. It's the.
both Chaos Control and.
It's not one of the
Chaotic
best.
Blast.
It's. I will say it's not one of the best. It's definitely not one of the best super battles. I will say, but it's still fine. Sonic 06. Well, Sonic 06 is not very good, but then again, nothing about that game is very good. So it's. I mean, that being said, the power. You still. True.
We're talking about the supersonic.
True. No. There's a point. Don't worry.
Also, I want to specify, it's not so more what you're capable of doing, but if the enemy is like too much of a sponge, that your attacks do so little damage at a time.
Oh, that.
Basically do a marathon of the boss.
No, they never have that. Look,
No. Again, usually with supersonic boss fights, it's just a matter of running into them a certain amount of times because, well, as supersonic, you are legit that invincible and powerful.
For the most part, those boss battles operate on a number set of hits. Like for example, like in in Biohazard. You always have to hit him a total of 6 times, and it's always 6 times. So there's never a point where the boss backtracks because there's a set number of hits to defeat it. Next up, okay. But that being said, no, I will argue Solaris doesn't really not really count as a damage sponge. Not really.
One of the problems those 6 had, the Solaris boss fight is relatively a good use of the 3 main hedgehogs, essentially.
Relatively.
Powering up their abilities and using them in that regard.
It's been so long.
yeah.
It's been so long since I played Secret Rings. But the Darkspine Sonic boss battle, it's also I don't like the way it's designed, but when it comes to the your capabilities as well as damage, it's fine from what I remember. Dark Gaia, Perfect Dark Gaia. The Perfect Dark Gaia, when it comes to those specific parameters, is fine. It's more so the way the camera works in that boss battle that I have a problem with. So it doesn't apply.
Next up is
Merlina.
The
Dark
the
Queen
Wish
in,
Queen on the Nintendo DS version.
That one is also good, especially because you can.
We were going to Black Knight next. Actually, Colors is after that.
Well, yeah. Oh, there you go. Cutscene first. Yeah, this boss battle goes on for a while, as you guys can see.
Why should I even care what you're saying? You're a maniacal bad guy with terrible charisma.
Yeah. I mean, any circus is trying his best to sell this, but damn.
Also, he says, no one will remember you. What suggests that...
Well, technically he's right, since the game has mostly been forgotten about.
Funny.
Well, you remembered it clearly enough to play it.
Heaven and hell. Where?
Semantics, bids.
Yeah, no, the Queen of the Underworld from Black Knight, the cool thing about that boss in particular is that you can actually defeat that boss battle in just one hit if you know what you're doing, because there's a specific way you can accumulate damage. So that boss battle is also good for that. Sonic Colors also works perfectly fine, because once again there's a set number of hits for it, so it works just fine. And not to mention actually never mind. That Sonic Colors doesn't count because Sonic Colors doesn't have a supersonic boss battle, actually, so never mind.
Unless you're, well, there is
Like
the
I said, the DS
final
version
boss
makes you go against the DB.
Yeah, the DS version. The DS version is fine from what I remember.
That one's good too.
Yeah, that one's
The
fine.
Sonic Rush games are also good with their supersonic boss
Yeah.
fights as well.
That too.
Again, like, no, I mean, honestly, again, no, Sonic games have never really made the supersonic boss fights ever feel like you're weak in terms of making the bosses feel like damage sponges. In most cases, you can more or less deal with those at your own pace.
Yeah, even something
the
like
ones that you can't deal with at your own pace, you still do feel like you are more powerful.
Yeah, even something like the Time Eater, despite being a horrible boss fight in general, even that doesn't have those problems.
Again, like, the problem with this is, I get it. They want to give you an evil counterpart that's a match for you in the final boss. But, okay, here's what they needed to do. Either A, give us more time as this powered-up goddess form, or B, have this fight, flow better, essentially. Because, again, like a lot of the other boss fights, the flow is not there, and this boss soaks up way too much damage. But yeah, no, you do have a point. Like, widely, this game really did just kind of end up being forgotten.
No, at this point in the recording process, I was just praying and hoping for this game to fucking end. To be honest, because at this point I was just so done with this game. Go on.
So in regards to the movie, I'm guessing that by the time that came out, either people didn't really care too much about the franchise, or the movie wasn't really that good, so it didn't really revive hopes for the franchise.
My best guess regarding that movie is that the movie was probably in development hell for a while, and the reason they released it is because by that point they realized that they had spent far too much money into that movie, so let's release it even if it sucks still.
Alas. But yeah, no, seriously, this should be an awesome moment, but again, I'm just counting down the minutes until it's over. Like, once again, the presentation for these boss fights is, well, Not up
A
to
boss
snuff.
battle, you find it. You have basically a boss battle between two gods. This is the part where you should bring up a lot of cool visual set pieces. Like make them. Okay. Hell, go full God of War and make this like a big QTE stuff. So at the very least, it will make something look cool because this just feels like game mechanically speaking. This just feels like any other boss battle. Honestly, like there's not like yes, you're now in full God mode. But the other character is also in God mode, so it boils down to just yet another boss battle.
We are effectively to a point where the game has neither substance nor style.
Yeah.
It's just a chore at this point.
Like the... yeah, basically. And yeah, because for this boss battle it doesn't accumulate any red dots, so you can't even use that, so...
The boss fights in general, don't let you do that.
So yeah, and
even the music is really that invigorating. Like, yes, it's dramatic and all, but
The problem is always when it's repetitive and it's kept throughout all the phases of it.
yeah.
Fuck. Alright, almost.
I mean, you've almost dealt with his second phase.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now let's see. This is literally a battle of attrition at this point. Who will drain each other's life bar the other one life bars first? Me or him? Because we're both near death at this point. So let's see. I'm almost there. And there we go. Now we just have to do the QTE.
Oh boy, a new speed combo is unlocked.
Fuck. I fucked that up. It's okay.
Oh god, he gets back his health if you mess up the QTE.
Yes. God. See, the thing is about this game is that sometimes I'm so like focused on the combos and the dodging and shit like that that sometimes when the QTE does show up, like I'm not even like okay, I have my brain has to make a shift into QTE mode, you know. All right, almost there. There you go. Now let's see if we can do this properly. There you go. Heaven and hell.
Hell is waiting for you, Nariko.
You and your light filter are going to hell. Oh,
Hey,
And now we're back here.
and we're back here. They didn't even give us a proper transition to this phase. Oh, ranged attacks.
yeah.
Brilliant.
Fun. Even if there is a way to counter them, ranged attacks in this
Hey!
game just
No,
feel
Hey!
annoying.
You're supposed to
Hey,
dodge.
assholes! Stop coming in front of the boss, and I need to see.
Again, it's just so awkward looking. Again, just have it be that he drains their energies because he's just that evil or something, and uses it to power himself up.
I mean, it happens in Paper Mario the 1,000 Year Door.
Like again, some aren't even attacking us; they're just running around with no sense of purpose.
So, like the developers of this game.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry, this boss theme doesn't even really feel like a final boss theme.
End the game. Just end. Please.
You know, I think this is definitely a good case study as to how lackluster music can hinder the experience.
Yeah, the music is soul draining. It's.
Like I said, this composer was mostly prevalent for movie and TV series. He only did this in terms of video game that this and late Odyssey to the West.
Fuck. Alright. Hopefully now. There you go. Now we're back to the same basic mode from the first phase. Jova,
You know,
help me!
just
I
noticed-
have run out of things to say. Jova, help me!
You know, I just noticed the black flame around him isn't even attached to him properly. It's just an animation put over him, and it's blended.
It's not a flame, it's a
terribly.
pair of wings.
Well, no. I mean, I go, okay, originally when it's like just that little bit creeping out behind his back, it doesn't even look properly attached with how janky the animation is.
This game has been going on for 4 hours. It feels like 4 months.
It really does. So, was the idea that the mooks inside the sigil were locked in here with us?
Kinda.
I have long stopped caring at this point. Just die already. Oh.
Again, you know, at the very
There you
least,
go.
try and like,
Southern-
you know,
Southern QTE, even though he has plenty of bar left. Okay.
well, if it takes more health off of him, I'm not complaining. Oh, you threw him into the catapult.
There you go. I guess even the developers mercifully realized, yeah, you know what, this boss battle is starting to take a bit too long.
We don't even get a lot of mid dialogue during the battle, essentially.
Yeah,
sure,
but-
yeah, we get the tiny bits with the cutscenes, but come on, we're fighting Andy Serkis. Give him more battle dialogue. Let him ham it up more.
Yeah, Joe has a good point. This would be a bit more tolerable if there was some kind of dialogue to keep our brains active.
Like, that's the thing. Like, they talk a big game with all the build up to the boss fights, but the actual boss fights themselves just lack, well, everything. Presentation, a good way to keep the player engaged, good music. Like, shoot, I throw shade at a lot of the boss fights in Arkham Asylum, but even those run laps around these boss encounters. Yes, more crow attack.
Yes. Andy Serkis is the Crow.
Ooh,
Almost there, Jova.
Almost there.
Again, honestly, the big and what would have fixed easily this kind of boss fight if you did just more damage with your attacks. You know, if the alpha
Yeah.
actually drops a bit more easier, it will not feel as much. Because otherwise, everything else in terms of mechanics of the boss fight just feels fine enough. Not too much deeper for the rest of the game.
Mommy, are
I
we
will give you
there
that
yet?
the mechanics are relatively fine, but it doesn't even feel exciting.
Mommy, are we there yet?
Mr. Pedro, you've already said that 3 times already. Doesn't make it go any faster. You will go to your room.
Jesus.
So, Dwibs, any input to give on this final boss extravaganza?
Well, I mean, putting aside that him suddenly having a bird for a boss came the hell out of nowhere.
Bird up.
Yeah, you can put it like that. I mean, it's a final boss. I'll give it that. I mean, I've played worse bosses. I played Spyro Went to the Dragonfly, but where that was the only boss.
Yeah, because for some reason he decided to murder, crush, and gulp.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you know, I guess I'll give... You know what? I guess I'll give Boahn credit, Dwibs. At least he didn't needlessly kill off the bosses.
He only killed them after their failures.
Actually, not even that. Like, Roach is still alive. You let Flying Fox live despite the fact
Hold
that
on.
Flying Fox literally let Kai get away with
Wait.
the Heavenly Sword.
What are you doing? I just drained you of your health.
You're not activating the QT.
Bloody hell. Like,
Here,
There we go.
Now,
You have to press the circle button.
I get that. I tried, but he keeps knocking me down. There you go.
Oh, that was Andy Serkis' surprise face. Oh.
that was...
There you go. Ah, see? See, guys? See, guys? She did it. She did the thing that Annie Circus was saying. She put her things on her sacred genitals. There you go. Also, Oni Slash or some shit.
The Oni Slash V5, of all things to reference.
Well, that was pretty big at the time. Oh, snap! She actually just cut him in half.
He bounces.
No, we don't. He's not cut in half, even though this is rated M, if I remember correctly. So
yeah.
So I don't. It looked very much like she was set to cut him in half. So is he just made of sterner stuff?
Hey, look at that. Despite dying once, I still get free.
Guys, I think Candy is having an epilepsy attack.
And I guess there goes whatever
the
that
Raven
bird
Lord,
thing
yeah,
is.
he's exercising.
There goes Birdie.
Don't let me die like this.
You failed.
Yeah, you bet on the wrong horse. Bye.
So... Oh!
Gets his eye, the remaining eye gets peckered.
Spare me. I beg of you.
You know, this would probably mean a lot more to me if we had any foreshadowing with this Raven, but, I mean, that's the thing. I don't think the prologue even really foreshadowed this Raven guy much, so, like, I'm just shrugging. But yeah, he is abandoned and blind.
So yeah, look at that. Nariko has officially become a ghost at this point.
Hey, Roach.
We need the payoff with I mentioned, Jova.
Now let me guess, he still opts to take care of his father.
He still loves him despite everything.
Daddy, daddy.
My son.
He called him son, and fuck off, game. Don't.
What, are they implying that the Raven Lord's influence made him a bad father or something, and now that the Raven's not around, he can be good to Roach? Huh. He literally just goes home.
I mean, I guess he's not much of a threat anymore.
No, and Nariko probably understands that violence. At that point, that violence might beget more violence.
Mind, I wasn't keen on it when they did that in the end of the original cut of Two Towers, where they just decided, yeah, you know what, Saruman's not a threat anymore. Let's just.
At the beginning of Return of the King, but I know what you mean. Still, I also would have preferred if Boahn had died, considering how despicable he had been for the entire game. But
Like, that's the thing. He comes, does heinous stuff, then turns out he wasn't even really the major boss.
I'm more okay with this mostly because I view it from the point of view of Roach. Despite the abuse and everything, despite this still has that much of attachment to the father, so that he could have mind behind that.
Own way. And those of us who have died for this sword have died in vain. I'm not sent from heaven, Father. And neither
I'm
is the
sent
sword.
from hell.
That is just pretentious.
Oh my god, her bloom is starting to literally blind me. Like.
Let me guess, she's about to resurrect Kai. Or
No, remember, Kai is alive.
No,
Kai's already. Kai never actually died, even though it doesn't make like a sense.
It's
like.
more of a case of healing
what is
her.
she? Right, so like I said, give her a healing boost.
Wow, she healed him like Jesus does in Terminator 3, the greatest action story ever told.
Wait. And I guess she doesn't have to die now?
Well, remember, Java,
What happened
technically she never died, even though it doesn't make any
Conquer
sense.
the power of the sword, ideally.
Yeah.
So let me guess, she had to give up her goddess powers.
And now she
Oh
gives.
wait, no, now she's glowing again.
I'll do a better
Now
job.
she's not.
I'll do a better job of hiding the sword than that other guy did.
That's the thing, though. She's about to die, and she gives the heavenly sword to Kai. She used the heavenly sword way too much, so now the sword will take her life.
Don't do heavenly sword, kids.
Yeah.
Hell of a drug.
Yep.
So the moral of the story is, if you find a sword,
Hold
that
on.
looks really cool, but it takes your life the more you use it, don't use it.
So let me get this straight. And Nariko just asked Shen to take care of Kai. I wouldn't trust Shen with Kai at all. Come on, Nariko.
Well, don't you see? Now that he's gone through his character development, I guess he'll be nice to Kai. God, what a little
And a
bunk.
great warrior will be born.
And now she gets
Will lead our people
Viking-style
out of
funeral.
a Viking-style funeral.
darkness, show
Yeah.
them the way to the promised land.
So, I wonder...
Is this the one where they burn the body?
Yes, they simply put it on a boat, put it on on the horizon, and okay, I don't think they do it in this case, but normally they set it up on fire.
Is there gonna be like a sequel hook or something? Otherwise, I'm not really seeing how there would be a sequel.
No,
like the cycle with...
Supposedly, okay, I can only guess that the sequel. Well, I guess it would just play as Kai. I guess.
Even still, though, isn't the cycle supposed to be broken with the Heavenly
This
Sword?
is also
Like,
what they mean
now-
when they say that the fan base did not really wanted more
Now
than
this-
just more recognition.
Now
Because the
this-
story is still pretty conclusive.
Now this would make a great hitman assassination. You just swap the body out with with your target, have them unconscious, then have them be the recipient of the Viking funeral. Then when the fire arrow gets shot at them, they burn to death.
Sure.
surprised we haven't had one of those yet.
I mean, there are kills in the Hitman series, more so the recent games, where you can set the target on fire.
And there you go. Now the tribe respects her in death.
We're going to do the fire.
Yeah, shouldn't somebody be shooting a fire arrow now?
In a foreign land, and he's like, Dad, we found this boat with a lady on it. Should we touch it? Leave it, boy.
Okay. That would actually be a cool crossover. Wait. Actually, given how Kratos references PlayStation Battlestar Royale in...
Yeah, I guess that happened.
So, I guess he technically did meet Nariko.
Yeah,
Even though they're not technically the rivals.
so does this mean? So does this mean that his ending in Mortal Kombat 9 is also canon?
And I'm like, oh god, could you imagine? Oh god, could you imagine if Nariko actually dies, she's just unconscious, and they pushed her body out, and then she wakes up and then she's in the middle of the ocean, like, wait, no, I was still alive, no.
Oh, so it'll be like that. Basically, there's a comedy skit in my country where they're just mourning over this guy's funeral, and suddenly he wakes up. Turns out I'm alive. I was just suffering from a condition that I don't know the name that just lowered my vital signs. And then he finds out that his son is a cross-dresser. And he's like, "Wait, my son dressed as a woman? What are you doing? This is and then he falls back, and this time he dies." So, but go ahead, Wibbs.
Well, that was a story. Yeah, okay. Having played DMC, that's since we're still from the same developers, that's the most comparison I can make since they're both hack and slashes. Although I will say DMC was more of a hack and slash than this because in that one the action's more faster. Oh, I'll say even the original PS3, Xbox 360 versions were more fast-paced than this. And at least then they had more creative bosses in that one. Whereas here, you're just fighting a bunch of generic mooks and generic soldiers, with lackeys of the bad guy.
Ice Team? Oh look, Mark Cerny was part of the quote-unquote Ice Team.
Ice Team. Oh,
What?
Liverpool Localization Service.
Did they make the ice during the snow level or something? What the hell is the Ice Team?
Why would you need to localize it for Liverpool? They're in the same country as...
Maybe Liverpool has a very, very, very deep English accent.
Maybe it's
that's different from the rest of your country.
Maybe it's like how the Layton games have two different English localizations, where the US version has more American terms and the and the European version has more British terms. Maybe.
Yeah. Plus Maria Darling.
So what you're telling me, Dwibs, is that Liverpool is like super England.
Danish voice actors.
I'll be more London, but I get your point. And speaking of actors, the acting in this game, it's for the most part fine, but there are parts with either really knobby line delivery, or
Oh, here's my actors right here.
or kind of pretty poor actors, pretty poor acting.
Dwibs, the sacred genitals.
Yes.
I mean, well, let's look at it this way. It's a game where we get to see any circus say, and she will be killed before she can throw her blades into my sacred genitals. So it does have that going for it.
Brilliant.
I guess, but I mean, there's a film where I know he's not in it, but there's a film where he directs dialogue like that I'd rather watch.
Really?
Venom 2, Jova.
Alright.
Huh.
Remember, he's
Anything
the
else?
director. The music is music, I guess. Okay, the graphics, I will say, they are at least on par with this, with it being a launch window title.
Look at that, Dubs. The mocap was done by Weta Digital, aka Peter Jackson's.
A lot of Peter Jackson created, yeah. Well, hey, if we're comparing Weta Digital projects together, that have Andy Serkis in them, I mean, at least this is one and done compared to, say, The Hobbit, which is just 3 overly long films with some decent qualities. But
I'm also going to make a comparison to another Weta Digital thing with Andy Serkis. I will still argue that this is still better use of Andy Serkis as an actor than the Tintin movie, at least.
So there we go. We have found 2 things that are worse at something than Heavenly Sword is.
Making a Heavenly Sword.
But and the story. Okay, I get what they were going for, but the main issue is how they executed. A lot of scenes are just really not that interesting. And there's also we get hell mode. And some things just come right the hell out of nowhere, like the bird,
And that's the thing. He leaves just as abruptly too. Like, for all we know, that bird might still be out there, but according to the story, no, all is right now.
Yeah, it's like I said earlier, they pull a theatrical cut of 2 towers on us. Where they say, actually, no, it's not a threat anymore, just leave him. Which I'm like, no. Well, he didn't just lose his powers or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so basically, overall, this, you could definitely tell this was a first effort at something from Ninja Theory. It wasn't their first game, but it was their first time trying to do something like this. And they really needed to do a lot of work. I can't say about Enslaved Odyssey to the West yet, since I haven't seen it. But I mean, in terms of gameplay and like improvements that they made, I mean, they at least got it to a competent enough level by DMC. I mean, and even then, it also needed another edition of it to fine tune the issues that had.
And by that point, the damage was done. But you know what? No, you are right that even if it's arguably not really good, they did improve over time. I guess after Heavenly Sword, Ninja Fury decided that the hack and slash variant was the niche that they wanted to go towards.
Yeah.
And then is Hellblade a hack and slash? I haven't played that one.
Yes, but it works differently than this, so...
Okay, so at least they've somewhat moved ahead and looked ahead to better... Well, I'm not sure about better since I haven't seen them, but...
different pastures.
Yeah, they've moved on. So I hope for their sake that things continue to get better for them, especially now they're owned by a really rich group. So long as Microsoft hopefully does right by them, and as long as
they hopefully turn in a good product, perhaps things can turn out for the better.
Well, we'll have to see. But for now, this is it's not the worst first effort I've ever seen from a team trying to tackle a genre, but I've seen better.
Again, it's no surprise why this did not take off and was kind of was definitely a flop. It's a valiant effort, but again, just trying does not guarantee you're going to get a successful or even necessarily good product.
But yeah, that's it from me.
All right, go ahead, Jova.
Tio? Oh, I guess I'll go next then. Yeah, no, this is bad. Like, it's not the worst thing we've commentated on by far, but holy cow, it feels draining to go through. Like, okay, first of all, the prologue seems interesting. Then it suddenly has this random, ooh, girl, sexist stuff, which I will argue the narrative does not do nearly enough to justify it. Because it's literally just about oh, you proved yourself, Nariko. We were wrong about you. Now we like you. Boom, bam. Then let's see.
I guess you don't have cooties after all.
And we have this weird bout where, again, like Tio, I forget if it was you or Tio suggested it. They should have just gone ahead with making Shen Nariko's actual father, because they kind of play coy with the thing, and it's like, don't even know why. As for Kai, she's a nice character, but if you've been going with the prologue, her addition kind of comes out of nowhere, and it's not even till, like, you know, closer towards the end where you actually get her situation explained, and again, it's done within the confines. It's not even, like, the thing centering around one bout of a chapter. It's like a teeny tiny section of a chapter, which just brings up, oh, by the way, Kai's mother was killed and stuffed by the flying fox. She has PTSD, screaming at the top of her lungs. She somehow avoids dying despite the fact that her neck should have been snapped by a noose, and kills him. And that's pretty much it for Kai, which is, again, really a shame. But no, the story, I don't think there's really one bit that really grabbed me. There are good ideas, but even when they have those good ideas, they botch it with the execution. Like I said, a lot of the reason this plot happens is just that the villains are so stupid that it's to the point where I don't really feel any stakes in the plot, because we just know the villains will go, oh, well, you can't possibly win, so let me leave you alive to then later thwart my plans. And literally, the flying fox has chance after chance to kill Kai. I get that he's trying to torture her, but my dude, you let her get away with the magical MacGuffin that could end your boss's plans. And what happened? Oh yeah!
You can also tell
Boahn
when
got
he's a bit
defeated.
insane, and in the next in the cutscene after that, he does basically, even Boahn tells him, why didn't you kill her? And he's like, I don't know if I should, because, you know, she's responsible for having that artifact that you have. You might not be pleased.
So this begs the question, why doesn't Boahn fire or at the very least punish this guy? Like he's all about, you know, Roach's belittlement, and I get, and you know, to be fair, I get it. That's how Roach works, but seriously, why does Boahn keep this guy around instead of just killing him the moment he fails or something? Like, if anything, that just reflects poorly on Boahn as a boss. Which, to be fair, he himself is pretty dumb, so maybe idiocy just likes company.
In the series, in the series, it talks about people that usurped his power, you know, because he was just lusting for it. So it's more, it probably is a case like Scar in a sense of desiring power but not knowing much how to do with it once in position.
That would be interesting, but the story doesn't do enough with it, because for the little bits that we do get of him, it's more so him ranting and raving to his goons about his plan here. I guess we get that one little bit where they're introduced, but then we're pretty much suddenly back to the races. As for the good guys, Shen's an asshole. He's an uncharismatic asshole who the story just decides at the last arc, oh, now he's good with Nariko. See, he realizes that he was wrong. But, and Nariko's okay with it because that made her tough and helped her survive. As for the rest of the tribe, the story cares so little about them that they literally all have the same face. And their about is, oh, Nariko, even though you helped us get out of jail, we still think poorly of you. But then, at the end, I guess they like her.
I guess I like you now.
It's like, look, I could get it if the story was trying to go for a gradual thing of these things are tough and cannot just automatically be dealt with that easily, even despite how good you do. Except, nope, at the end, they like her. They're fine, they even throw her a big funeral and everything, out of respect. So, yeah, I don't know what they were thinking, honestly. Again, they should have just gone strictly with the Conan variant, where, yeah, maybe she would have been looked down on initially, but as soon as she showed her strength, then they acknowledge and respect her. But nope, it's literally just act like she has cooties until the third act, in which case, oh, now we're supposed to like her. Like, Jesus, it really makes it hard to even care for the good guys. In fact, I think another issue is that we don't do nearly enough world building, I'd say, to make us care about what will happen if the bad guy wins. Like, we never see any of the places that are at threat of what happens if Boahn wins. Oh, sure, yeah, there's the tribe, but again, they're a-holes. Dicks, so...
It lacks world building because we don't know how big this world is and nor how many nations there are. We only see Nariko's tribe, and it's implied it's like basically the last bastion standing.
And like, again, the problem is that if that's what we have to fight for, it does not feel that riveting to fight for. And you know what? Yeah, the narrative is weak. That would not be as much an issue if it weren't for the fact that the gameplay is weak too. The gameplay loop is not endearing. It is very slow and sluggish. While yes, the game does technically give you some ways to contend with threats here and there, some of those ways are so specific that you'll be forgiven for forgetting about them because the game does not require you to use them. But then in those bouts where the game just showers you with enemies and whatnot, it doesn't feel like you lose because of actual true difficulty, but more so cheap and fake difficulty. And even without those BS moments, it just really feels way too slow for its own good. And I get it, they really want to get as much playtime as they can, get you to appreciate the visuals and whatnot. Well, in regards to that, I find this game to be a glorified tech demo. Which, you know what? Look, it's not always bad if your game's a tech demo, but here's the point. First of all, it needs to be a fun tech demo like Astro's Playroom, or to some extent Crash Bandicoot, which some people do consider to be the original PlayStation tech demo. Thing is, for as basic as Crash Bandicoot could be, it was still a generally fun game under all that stuff. It showcased the graphics, but still remembered to have a good game to be with it. This one just feels like it's there for the visuals, and even at certain points. Okay, I can get that back then a lot of this stuff looked cool. But I'm sorry, even some of the stuff as it was supposed to look cool back then would have looked wonky back then. Like the coloring in some areas here and there, the subtitles can be terribly blended in.
And the super amazing bloom transformation. Like seriously, the bloom is off the fucking charts.
Like, seriously, that's your big super form. Just turn up the bloom effect on Nariko, which becomes inconsistent later on, too. Like, you couldn't give her a whole new design or anything. It's just, now she's really, really pale to the point of glowing. Ooh. Like, again, like I said, it gets to the point where the game has neither substance or style. It's just a chore at that point. And I think that's the best way to describe this game. It's a chore. It was probably a chore to make, it's a chore to sit through, it's a chore to play. That being said, if you like this game, all the more power to you, and I'm happy for those who were fans that they at least did get representation in the crossover, and Hey, I don't know how it turned out, but getting a movie is no small feat. Again, unless it was in development now and they were always planning to cross-market it. It's just that it got delayed. Either way, though, well, Heavenly Sword, you may have failed as a franchise, but you certainly existed.
Oh, sure it does. Go on to.
Sure, I'll be quick anyway. This was incredibly frustrating to play on my own, and again, I haven't really touched it since. But I have to admit it was mostly out of my impatience more than anything. This is a game that is not really casual friendly. It really requires you to pay, attention and patience for the controls. If you don't, if you play like the average hack and slash, even the first Devil May Cry is more generous compared to this. But if you don't, you'll be essentially overwhelmed, and the experience will be terrible. Not helped by the controls of the camera, and most importantly, of the projectiles, even not counting the 6-axis. The graphical compartment is exactly what you expect from a retitled PS3. Ambitious, but overwhelmed by the desire to take advantage of the technology. Again, if there's one thing that I'm glad that the PS5 did, is instead of pumping out titles that, oh my god, we're taking advantage so much of the graphical fidelity, look how hyper-realistic everything is, was much to more taking the approach of a PS4 and just upscale it so that it actually had, more consistency to it more than anything. Only now, ideally, we're actually exiting that territory, so who knows what's going to happen. But at the very least, they did not rush things through. Unlike with the PS3 era, which combined with the amazing $599 price tag, was not a good combination. The story is undercooked, at the very least. It could have been better. I don't really hate it too much, but it could have been better. I kind of like the gimmick of Boahn and his servants being this incompetent bunch of, warlords that are just way over their heads. But it could have needed a bit more time to be fleshed out. It's a general consensus of the game. It needed more time, more levels and everything. Like, reduced a bit too much the dickishness of the enemies or how much patience it requires you, and instead focus on having a bit more level. Kind of like God of War 2. Instead of, focusing too much on having too many enemies on screen as ramping up from the first game, instead try to vary the locales and the situation that you're in. Same goes for the boss fight, really. And again, the shooting sections could be fine, but a lot of the times, especially when you control the projectiles, they're more of a chore than anything. I'm sorry. The voice acting is actually fine. The music could have been better as well. You can tell this composer does not have experience with video games. Sometimes it gets repetitive, particularly in the final boss, but that's because it's plagued by the Hellbar problem, being too spongy. Then the circus, you can tell that he's having the fun of his lifetime, so I'll just, that I cannot really deny it. And again, I like Nariko as a protagonist. You can tell that the people tried their best in an age, especially in 2007, where female characters were still relatively, sexualized as the norm, but it was at the time this status quo was more leaning towards that. Nariko stood out instead of being not like that, while not necessarily being dickish towards the people around her. There was a bit more balance and wanted to just, showcase a bit something different and giving more dignity to a film protagonist.
It's interesting too, because the behind the scenes video we're going to see next talk about what Tamina actually talks about, that how he mentions, we at E3 our game was the only one with a female protagonist. I guess it was a risk on our part and everything, so he was pretty much patting himself in the back a lot in those videos.
Tamina said a lot of things, and he's not that kind of person that I will compliment or say many things, but he did kind of have a point. Like I said, early 2000, mid 2000 was still around that time where it was still happening. Remember, Tomb Raider was kind of dead at that point, and not many franchises prided themselves to have the strong independent protagonist. You have maybe Ninja Gaiden with, I think, Rachel, but if you play the new Ninja Gaiden games, you know exactly why I am having this kind of reaction towards her. But
I hesitate to really give this game supposedly credit on that. I feel like there was still a fair other amount of games that had female protagonists as well.
Around
And
the
to
time,
meme
I
being
mean,
to meme, I really do get the feeling he was just talking out his rear
and again,
end.
like I said, I would like to remind you that this is the same guy that compared Dante Nero to the protagonist of Brokeback Mountain.
Keep in mind also, he's also the guy who pretty much talked a big game about, well, he didn't explicitly say sexualizing females, but he was definitely on that train when talking about the DMC reboot. So I'm not going to give him the benefit of the doubt that supposedly he was
my point
looking
in
in that
this is that I
regard.
like Nariko as a protagonist, as a main character. And again, it gives more variety and spice. It's consider her kind of like of a prototype Aloy a bit on that front.
I can see that.
I kind of prefer her to Aloy in a couple of ways, but
Ooh.
I might mention that another time. But my point is, I like a lot of things about this game, believe it or not, despite my big frustration in playing it. But it's undeniable that it's faulty. I still want it to be re-released in some kind of fashion, remake, remaster, whatever. More people need to know about this. Maybe put some quality of life improvement, who knows? But we do know that even these days, even when it comes to remakes and remasters, Sony wants to more gear towards just the accessibility rather than big gameplay changes. In terms of making the enemies more easy or anything. So who knows what may happen in that case? But again, I wouldn't mind. That's my point. Pedro.
Yeah, this was kind of a chore for me. Personally, I don't really think we've lost that much of a great thing, honestly. I mean, Nariko's fine as a protagonist, but honestly, I don't know. Like, I feel like she's not fleshed out well enough.
I've seen much better.
Yeah. Well, when it comes to well, whatever. The point is this game is not particularly great. It's I can see you can tell that a lot of work went into it, but it doesn't really translate into a fun game. Not really. The technical aspects are very impressive for their time, but yeah, the story is just dull, and the gameplay is repetitive, so fucking repetitive that it gets to a point where it becomes just flat out soul draining. And yeah, the game doesn't have that much to it. Like you beat it up, you beat the harder mode, and that's literally it. I mean, you can go back and try your best to get better rankings so you can unlock shit, but I'm not gonna bother with that. I'll just get a completely safe file off the internet. Fuck that shit. So that's it. So for the next part, everybody will. So stay tuned, everybody, because we're not quite done yet. Because not only do we have an extra part with the special features in, but also, why not? Let's just put an entire cap on this franchise as a whole. We'll tune in also for the movie right after that. So
yeah.
see ya.
See ya.